Welcome back to the deep dive. We are doing something a little different today.
We are.
We're taking a single document, a piece of writing titled The Man Who Didn't Look Right, and we're going to use it as a skeleton key.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. A key to unlock how your brain actually functions.
Right, and I don't mean how you think it functions. I mean the wetware, the automated systems, the invisible scripts that are quite literally running your life right now while you listen to this.
It is a fascinating document because it starts out like a detective novel, you know?
It does.
Then it moves into this high-stakes military strategy, and it ends up in a Japanese train station of all places.
A very strange journey.
But the thread connecting all of it is this concept of the brain as a prediction machine.
Right. And I think before we get into the neurology of it, we have to start with the story that gives the document its title.
We have to.
Because it's one of those anecdotes that if you saw it in a movie, you'd say, okay, that's a bit dramatic. That's a bit Hollywood. But this is real. This is a case study.
It is. It's the story of a paramedic and a family dinner.
So set the scene for us. This isn't an emergency room. It's not an ambulance.
No, not at all. It's a party.
A totally low-stakes environment.
Exactly. You have a woman who has spent years, decades working in emergency medicine. She's at a family gathering, drinks, appetizers, noise, laughter. It's a very relaxed social setting.
Okay.
She arrives, and naturally she goes to greet her father-in-law.
Who is, by all accounts, the life of the party.
He is. He's standing there, he's joking, he's eating. To the naked eye, to everyone else in that room, he is the picture of health.
No symptoms.
Zero. He has no chest pain. He isn't clutching his left arm. He isn't short of breath. He is just dead.
And yet, she looks at him. And the text says her reaction was visceral.
It was immediate. She looks at his face, and she gets a pit in her stomach, a physical sensation of alarm.
And she just says it.
She says to him, right there in front of everyone, "I don't like the way you look."
Which is an insane thing to say to your father-in-law at a party.
A total mood killer, for sure. And he treats it like one. He laughs it off.
Of course.
He says, well, I don't like your looks either. It's banter. But she doesn't laugh.
She doubles down.
She locks in. She says, no, seriously, we need to go to the hospital now.
Wow. Imagine the pressure in that moment. You're the daughter-in-law. You're dragging this man away from his own party when he feels fine.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're wrong, you are the crazy relative who ruined the night. Forever.
But she wasn't wrong. She drags him to the hospital. They run the tests. And it turns out he has a massive blockage in a major coronary artery.
So he was on the edge.
He isn't having a heart attack yet, but he is standing on the precipice. He is minutes, maybe hours away from a massive myocardial infarction that likely would have dropped him right there in the living room.
So she saves his life.
Yeah.
That's the outcome. But the deep dive here is the mechanism.
Yes.
Because when they asked her later, how did you know? What did you see? She couldn't answer.
Yeah. She couldn't give them a symptom. She couldn't say his lips were blue or he was sweating. She just kept repeating that one phrase.
He didn't look right.
He didn't look right.
To me, that sounds like magic. It sounds like a psychic medium. You're the expert here. Tell me why this isn't magic.
It feels like magic because the processing happens below the threshold of consciousness.
Okay.
But biologically, it is a very specific physiological reaction. We need to talk about what happens to the human body when the heart begins to fail.
Okay, let's get technical. What is the body doing in that moment?
When a major artery is obstructed, the heart's efficiency just drops. The body, which is an incredibly intelligent survival machine, instantly recognizes a crisis. The heart, the lungs, the brain. It is hoarding resources to keep the engine running.
So this changes the way the skin looks.
It does, but, and this is why you or I wouldn't see it, it doesn't necessarily make you pale in the way we think of a ghost or a vampire. It's not a stark white.
It's more subtle.
It's a subtle shift in the distribution of color. The zones of the face that are usually flushed might be slightly more muted. The texture might appear slightly flatter due to reduced turgor.
It's a pattern change.
It is a microscopic pattern change. Now, if you or I looked at him, or if he looked in a mirror, we wouldn't see it. Our brains don't have a category for a pre-heart attack vasoconstriction pattern.
Right, we haven't seen it 1,000 times.
But this paramedic, she had spent 10 years looking at the faces of people in cardiac distress.
She had the data set.
Her brain had a massive high-fidelity database of heart attack faces. When she looked at her father-in-law, Her brain, specifically the adaptive unconscious, ran a matching algorithm.
Instantly.
It saw the pattern of vasoconstriction, matched it to the database, and triggered the alarm.
But, and this is the part that blows my mind, it triggered the alarm without showing her the work.
That is the efficiency of the brain. The conscious mind is slow. It's linear.
Right.
It takes time to articulate, I am observing reduced capillary flow. The unconscious mind is fast. It's parallel processing. It saw the danger and skipped the explanation. It just sent the output. Fear.
Pit in the stomach.
Exactly. The feeling was the information. She didn't know what she saw, but she knew what she had to do.
This concept that we can know something without knowing how we know it is really the core of this whole deep dive.
It is.
The document calls the brain a prediction machine.
That is the best way to think about it. We tend to think of our brains as cameras. We think we open our eyes and just record the world, but we don't.
What are we doing then?
We are constantly predicting what the world should be and then just checking for errors.
The source material pivots here to a story that raises the stakes even higher than the paramedic.
Much higher.
We're going from a living room to a battleship in the Persian Gulf.
The story of Lieutenant Commander Michael Riley.
This one, I mean, the paramedic story is cool, but nobody was going to blow up. This story has a potential body count if it goes wrong.
The stakes are binary. Life or death. Friendly fire or ship destruction.
So paint the picture for us. It's the Gulf War. Riley is on a battleship. He's in the Combat Information Center.
Which is a dark room, glowing screens, super high tension. He's staring at a radar scope.
Yeah.
Now, you have to understand the technology of the time. This isn't a 4K video feed. It's just green blips on a screen.
And the airspace is crowded.
Extremely crowded. You have American fighter jets, specifically the A-6 and shooter flying sorties. You have enemy activity. And specifically, the Iraqis had suckworm missiles.
And the problem, as the document highlights, is that on a radar screen, an A-6 intruder and a suckworm missile look almost identical.
They are roughly the same size. They travel at roughly the same speed. And in this specific instance, they were flying at the same altitude. A nightmare scenario.
So Riley is watching the scope. He sees a blip. It's just a green dot. It's moving like a plane. It's at the altitude of a plane.
Right.
But he stares at it, and his heart rate spikes.
He gets that same paramedic intuition. He feels that something is wrong.
Now, pause here.
Mm-hmm.
Because the decision matrix he's facing is terrifying.
Mm.
He has seconds.
Just seconds.
If he orders the shoot down, and it's an American pilot, he has just killed 2 of his own men. He's court-martialed. He has to live with that forever.
It's the worst possible outcome. But if he hesitates, and it is a missile...
That missile hits the battleship. We're talking massive casualties, potentially sinking the entire ship.
And he has no data. He has no IFF signal, that's identification front of the foe, that is giving him a clear answer.
He just has a hunch.
He orders the target shot down.
He fires.
He fires. The phalanx guns or the Sea Dart missiles go out. They intercept the target. It was a Silkworm missile. He saved the ship.
This is where the story gets really technical, is really fascinating. Because after the fact, the Navy didn't just say, "Good job, Mike," and move on. They were terrified.
They were baffled. They pulled the tapes. They had analysts look at the radar data frame by frame.
Trying to find the signal he saw?
Right. They compared the flight path of the missile Riley shot down with the flight paths of the A-6 intruders that were in the air.
And they couldn't find the difference.
For a long time, they couldn't see it. Same speed, same heading, same altitude. Riley couldn't explain it either.
So what did he say?
He just said it looked like a missile.
So how did they solve it? Because there had to be a signal. The brain isn't psychic.
It took cognitive scientist Gary Klein to really dig into this.
Yeah.
They eventually found the anomaly. It wasn't on the screen in a single moment. It was in the timing.
The timing.
When a Silkworm missile is launched, it has a specific acceleration profile. When an A-6 intruder is flying, it has a consistent velocity. On the radar, remember, the radar sweeps around, so you get a blip. Then silence, then a blip. The rhythm of the blip's movement was microscopic, infinitesimally different.
We're talking about pixels.
We are talking about a lag that is barely measurable. But Riley's brain, which had watched thousands of hours of radar sweeps of A-6 intruders, had encoded the rhythm of a friendly jet.
He had the baseline.
He knew what right looked like. When this blip appeared, the timing was off by a fraction of a second.
His brain noticed the lag.
His brain noticed the lag. It didn't send him a memo saying lag detected. It just said wrong. It recognized that the prediction, this should be here on the next sweep, failed. And when the prediction failed, the alarm bells rang.
That is just it really reframes what we call intuition, because I think a lot of people use intuition as an excuse for guessing.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I have a good feeling about this lottery number. That's not intuition.
Yeah, that's hope.
Right. Riley's intuition and the paramedic's intuition is actually high-speed analysis. It is encoded knowledge.
Exactly. It is the result of repetition. You cannot have this kind of intuition in a field where you don't have experience.
That's a key point.
If I put you in front of that radar screen, you wouldn't have had the feeling. You would have just seen a blip. You need the baseline data to recognize the anomaly.
The document mentions a few other examples of this that I want to touch on, because they show how this applies to different senses. We have the visual with the radar, but what about the tactile? The hairdresser example.
Yes, this is a classic, the pregnancy detector.
It sounds like a parlor trick.
It does. But there are documented cases of hairdressers asking regular clients, so when is the baby due? Before the client has told anyone they are pregnant. Sometimes before the client even knows for sure.
How? How is that possible?
It's tactile. It's the texture of the hair. When a woman becomes pregnant, there is a massive hormonal shift estrogen, progesterone. This alters the sebum production in the scalp and the actual texture of the hair follicle.
So the hair physically changes.
It can become finer or more brittle or oilier.
But again, it must be so subtle.
Incredibly subtle. But if you are a hairdresser, you are handling hair all day, every day. Your fingers are your radar. You know the baseline of your client's hair.
Ah, there's that word again.
Yeah.
Baseline.
Right. Suddenly you put your hands in it and it feels different. It doesn't feel right.
It's the man who didn't look right, but it's the hair that didn't feel right.
Precisely. And the hairdresser might not know a thing about endocrinology. They just know the pattern is broken.
There's one more example in this section regarding radiologists, and I think this is critical because it changes how we understand vision itself.
Yes, the eye tracking studies.
We assume that when a doctor looks at an X-ray, they are scanning it like a book, top to bottom, left to right.
Right. The mental model is, I will search for the tumor.
But that's not what happens.
Eye tracking studies have proven this is false. When you show a chest X-ray to a veteran radiologist, their eyes don't scan, their eyes jump. Within milliseconds, their fovea, the high-resolution center of the eye, fixates directly on the abnormality.
Before they have consciously found it.
Before they have consciously identified it, their peripheral vision, which is blurry but really good at spotting broad patterns, sends a signal to the brain saying, something weird over there.
And the brain just directs the eyes.
The brain directs the eyes to that spot. They aren't looking for the problem, they're looking at the problem because their brain predicted where it would be.
So if we zoom out, the thesis here is, we are not thinking as much as we think we are.
We are running on autopilot, and we have to.
Why? Why can't we just be conscious all the time?
Because it is expensive. Metabolically expensive.
The brain is a gas guzzler.
It is. Your brain is roughly 2% of your body weight, but it consumes about 20% of your daily caloric intake.
That's a huge ratio.
Thinking true, focused, conscious analysis burns glucose like crazy. If you had to consciously process every variable, how do I walk? How do I breathe? What is that sound? What is that light? You would be exhausted in 20 minutes. You'd collapse.
So the brain automates to save fuel.
It creates shortcuts. It says, okay, I've seen this pattern before. I know what to do. I don't need to call the CEO, the conscious mind for this decision. The intern can handle it.
The intern being the basal ganglia.
Right, exactly. The basal ganglia stores the scripts. Shoelace loose. Tie it. You don't think about the knot. Red light. Brake. You don't calculate the hydraulic pressure needed. You just do it.
This brings us perfectly into section 2 of the outline. Because this automation, this prediction machine, is a double-edged sword.
It is the ultimate double-edged sword. On one side, it allows Michael Riley to save a battleship. It allows the paramedic to save a life. It allows you to drive to work while listening to this deep dive.
But on the other side, it creates zombies.
It creates blindness. Because when you stop thinking, you stop noticing context.
I want to tell the story of the retail clerk here. Because to me, this is the funniest and most terrifying example of context blindness in the whole document.
The gift card incident. It's a classic.
Yes. So for you listening, imagine a retail clerk at a busy store. They have a specific procedure for gift cards.
Right.
When a customer pays with a gift card and the balance hits 0, the clerk is instructed to take the card, cut it in half with fizzers, and throw it away.
Makes sense. You don't want customers getting confused keeping empty cards.
Right. So it's the holiday rush. The line is out the door. The clerk is in the zone.
High stress, high repetition, the perfect breeding ground for automation.
Exactly. Customer A, gift card, swipe, zero balance, snip, trash. Customer B, gift card, swipe, zero balance, snip, trash. The brain has built the rhythm.
The script is now burned in.
The script is plastic card in hand, swipe machine, scissors cut.
Yep.
Then customer C walks up. They don't have a gift card. They hand the clerk their personal high-limit platinum credit card.
A very important distinction.
To the conscious mind, yes. But the clerk isn't in their conscious mind.
Oh.
They are in the script. They take the credit card, they swipe it, the machine approves it, and then without missing a beat, the clerk picks up the scissors.
Oh, no.
And snip. Cuts the customer's actual credit card perfectly in half.
And what happens next?
No, this is the best part. The text says the clerk just stood there. The customer stood there. There was this long, awkward silence. And the clerk looked at the scissors, looked at the card, and only then did the conscious mind wake up.
That moment of waking up, that shock, is the proof.
What does it prove?
It proves that for the preceding 5 seconds, nobody was home. The lights were on, the hands were moving, but the pilot had left the cockpit.
It's terrifying because we all do this. Maybe not cutting up credit cards, but we all go into zombie mode.
We do. And it happens most often when the environment triggers the script. The source mentions the lifeguard example.
Guy who yells at kids.
A former lifeguard. He hadn't worked a pool in years, but he's at a barbecue or a park, and he sees a kid running on concrete.
The cue.
The cue hits his brain predicts running, slip injury. The script fires. Enforce safety. Before he can stop himself, he bellows, "Walk," at a stranger's child.
And probably scares the life out of everyone.
Probably. But he didn't choose to yell. The environment pressed the button, and the robot responded.
There's another one. The preschool teacher.
Oh, the hand washing.
She leaves teaching. She gets a corporate job. She's in a suit, in a high-rise office. She sees her adult coworker coming out of the bathroom, and she asks,
Don't say it.
"Did we wash our hands?"
That is socially devastating.
It's hilarious, but it illustrates the point perfectly. The cue, Perton exiting restroom, triggered the script hygiene check.
And the context just didn't matter.
The fact that the person was a 45-year-old accountant and not a 4-year-old toddler didn't register until the words were already out.
And this leads us to a really uncomfortable truth. We like to believe we are in control of our habits. We say, I have a bad habit of eating sugar.
Right.
But the source argues that often we aren't even choosing the sugar. We're just reacting to invisible cues.
Talk about the invisibility aspect, because the cookies aren't invisible. They are right there on the counter.
They are visually visible, but the decision process is invisible. The document discusses how environmental design dictates behavior.
Okay.
If you walk into your kitchen and the cookies are on the counter, your brain sees them. It instantly predicts the dopamine hit of eating one. It simulates the taste. It triggers the craving.
The hunger loop.
Right. You don't just get hungry.
Yeah.
Your body sends a chemical signal, ghrelin levels spike, insulin shift, that pushes you toward the food. You find yourself eating the cookie and you tell yourself, I decided to have a treat.
But did I?
But did you? Or did the sight of the box trigger a script that you merely obeyed?
This is the fate idea. The source quotes Carl Jung here, and it's a heavy quote.
It's a great one. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate.
You will call it fate.
Oh.
That hits hard. Because how many times do we say, oh, I'm just a disorganized person?
Right.
Or I'm just bad with money. Or I just have a bad temper.
We treat it like a character trait, like it's written in our DNA. But the science says, no. It's a script. It's a prediction.
So it's not me, it's the script.
You are disorganized because your brain has automated a series of behaviors that result in mess, and you haven't interrupted the pattern. You are bad with money because the swipe by loop is running on autopilot.
So if the problem is the scripts are running in the dark, the solution has to be turning on the lights.
Exactly. We need to move the process from the basal ganglia, the habit brain, to the prefrontal cortex, the conscious brain.
And this brings us to section 3, the solution. And I love that the solution doesn't come from a therapist's couch or a pill.
No.
It comes from the train tracks of Japan.
It is my favorite part of the research. It involves a system called shisakanko.
Shisakanko, which translates to?
Roughly, pointing and calling.
So take us to Tokyo. We're on the platform. What do we see?
If you watch a train conductor in Japan, or the platform staff, you will see a performance. It looks theatrical.
Theatrical how?
The train pulls in. The conductor doesn't just look at the speedometer. He physically points his white-gloved finger at the gauge.
Like arm Fully extended.
Fully extended. He points at the gauge and yells, "Speed is 80 kilometers." Then he points at the signal light and yells, "Signal is green." Then he checks his watch, points at the timetable and yells, "Time is 10.42."
And the people on the platform, they're doing this too.
They do it too. Before the doors close, the platform guard walks the line, pointing at the gap between the train and the platform, verifying it's clear, and yells, "All clear."
Now, I have to play the skeptic here. To an outsider, this looks silly.
Yeah.
It looks like they are playing train conductor. It looks inefficient.
I get it.
Why waste the energy pointing and yelling?
It looks silly until you see the data. The source highlights a study, I believe from the 1990s, that showed the system reduced workplace errors by up to 85%.
85%.
85% error reduction. And it cut accidents by 30%.
Those numbers are astronomical in the safety world. Usually you're fighting for a 1% improvement.
Exactly. It was so effective that the MTA, the New York City subway, adopted a version of it.
Oh, really? I've seen them pointing, but I haven't heard them yelling.
New York adopted a point-only system. The conductors have to point to a specific black and white striped board, the zebra board, at every station to verify the train is properly berthed, aligned with the platform.
And did it work in New York?
Within 2 years of implementing just the pointing, incorrectly berthed subways dropped by 57%.
Okay, so clearly it works, but why? What is the neurology behind pointing at a sign you can already see?
It solves the problem of inattentional blindness.
Explain that.
When you do a task repeatedly, like driving a train or driving a car, your brain predicts the outcome. You expect the light to be green.
Because it's usually green.
Because the light is usually green. So your eyes might physically see a red light, but your brain overwrites the image with its prediction. Green. You drive right through it.
The brain hallucinates reality to save energy.
In a way, yes. Pointing and calling forces a hard reset of the attention system. It engages multiple sensory modalities.
Walk us through the modalities.
First, visual. You have to look at the object, point at it. Second, motor. You have to engage the motor cortex to lift your arm and aim the finger. Third, verbal. You have to formulate the words. And fourth, auditory. You hear your own voice.
It's a feedback loop.
It is a massive feedback loop. You cannot be on autopilot if you are physically pointing and shouting. It forces the prefrontal cortex to come online and verify. Is the light actually green?
It breaks the trance.
It breaks the trance. It turns the zombie back into a human.
The source mentions a domestic example of this.
Yeah.
Because I'm not driving a train, but I do leave my house every day.
The author's wife.
Right. She uses a verbal checklist.
Before she walks out the door, she says out loud, "I have my keys, I have my wallet, I have my glasses,
Oh,
I have my husband."
The husband is the most important item.
Essential cargo. But think about how many times you've left the house thinking, yeah, I've got everything, only to realize 10 minutes later you forgot your phone.
All the time. Because I assumed I had it.
You predicted you had it. She verified she had it. That's the difference.
So the mission for this deep dive is to figure out how to apply Shisakenko to our messy lives.
Right.
But before we can point at our habits, we have to find them.
Right. You can't fix a bug in the code if you can't see the code.
This leads to section 4, the habits scorecard.
This is a tool designed to bring the invisible scripts into the light. It's not exciting. It's actually quite boring. But it is necessary.
How does it work?
It's a simple list. The source suggests you take a piece of paper and write down everything you do in order from the moment you wake up. And I mean everything.
Give us the granular level.
The example in the text is something like, wake up, turn off alarm, check phone, go to bathroom, weigh myself, shower, brush teeth, floss, deodorant, hang up towel, get dressed, make tea.
It reads like a really mundane diary.
It is mundane,
Yeah.
but the magic is in the sequence. You are documenting the automated chain.
Okay, so I have the list. Step 2 is scoring it.
Correct. You go through the list and categorize each habit. Use a plus for a good habit, a minus like for a bad habit, and an equal sign for a neutral habit.
So brush teeth gets a plus. Wake up gets an equal sign. Check Twitter for 45 minutes gets a big minus.
In theory, yes. But the expert in the source material adds a really important nuance here. He challenges the idea of good and bad.
How so?
He argues that there are no objectively bad habits. There are only effective habits.
Meaning they are effective at solving a problem.
Exactly. Let's take the check Twitter habit. Why do you do it? Maybe you're bored. Twitter solves boredom. Maybe you're anxious about the news. Twitter solves the uncertainty. It is an effective solution to the immediate problem. It just has negative long-term consequences.
So we have to judge the habit based on the net outcome.
Context is everything. The source uses the peanut butter bagel example.
I liked this one because I love bagels.
We all love bagels. But is eating a bagel a good habit or a bad habit?
Well, it depends on who is eating it.
Exactly. If you are 50 pounds overweight and trying to lower your cholesterol, eating a dense carb bomb with fatty peanut butter every morning is a minus. It works against your goal.
But if I'm an elite athlete,
if you are a linebacker trying to bulk up for the season, that same bagel is a plus. It is an efficient calorie delivery system. The habit hasn't changed. The goal has changed.
So you can't just download a generic habit checklist from the internet. You have to look at your own life.
And if you are struggling to figure out if a habit is a plus or a minus, the source offers a deeper question. I think this is the most powerful part of the scorecard section.
It's the identity question.
Yes. Ask yourself, does this behavior help me become the type of person I wish to be?
Does this habit cast a vote for or against my desired identity?
That reframes everything. It's not just about calories or productivity, it's about the self.
Give me an example.
If you want to be a person who is calm and present, then checking email at 6 a.m. casts a vote against that identity. It's a minus.
Even if checking email makes you productive.
Exactly. Productivity might not be the identity you are optimizing for.
Okay, so I've made the list. I've marked the pluses and minuses. I've faced the reality that I have some bad scripts running.
Yeah.
The instinct, my instinct anyway, is to immediately start fixing, okay, tomorrow, no phone, no bagel, cold shower, let's go.
And that is exactly what you should not do.
Why?
The source is very explicit. There is no need to change anything at first.
That feels counterintuitive. Why make the list if I'm not going to use it?
Because the first step isn't correction, it's observation. If you jump straight to correction, you bring judgment into it. I'm so stupid for doing this. I'm lazy.
And judgment is bad.
Judgment shuts down awareness. You feel guilty, so you stop looking.
So we need to be scientists.
You need to be a neutral observer. Watch yourself do the bad habit.
Observe without judgment.
Watch yourself grab the phone. Don't stop yourself. Just say, oh, look at that. I felt bored and my hand automatically went to the phone. Interesting.
It takes the emotion out of it.
It separates you from the habit. It shows you that the habit is just a mechanism, not a moral failing.
And once we have that awareness, once we've identified the cues and the scripts, that is when we can finally use the big weapon. Section 5. Combining the strategies.
The point-and-call intervention.
This is where we take the Japanese railway safety method and apply it to our personal vices.
Let's go back to the cookie example, or the junk food script.
Okay, so I'm in the kitchen, I'm stressed, I see the cookies, the zombie script activates, my hand is reaching out.
Normally, you would eat the cookie before you even realized it. But now you have the scorecard. You know this is a minus habit, so you catch yourself.
And I point and call.
You point at the cookie, and you say out loud, I am about to eat this cookie.
Is that it?
No. You finish the sentence with the consequence. I am about to eat this cookie, but I don't need it. Eating it will cause me to gain weight and hurt my health.
Wow, that really ruins the cookie.
It destroys the flavor profile completely.
But effectively, what are you doing there? You are pulling the action out of the darkness.
You are making the invisible visible. The source says, hearing your bad habits spoken aloud makes the consequences seem more real.
It adds weight.
It creates friction. Before, the cost was zero. The autopilot just did it. Now, to eat the cookie, you have to defy your own spoken logic.
Right.
You have to look at the cookie, admit it's bad for you, and still eat it.
That's a hard thing to do. It makes you feel ridiculous.
And that feeling of ridiculousness is often enough to make you put the cookie back.
It works for positive habits too, doesn't it? The source mentions using this for to-do lists.
Yes. It's not just for stopping bad things, it's for ensuring good things. If you say out loud, tomorrow I will go to the post office after lunch, you are increasing the probability that you will actually do it.
You are programming the prediction machine.
You are giving the brain a clear, vocalized instruction, expect to go to the post office.
It's funny, we started this episode talking about a woman who had this magical intuition, and we're ending it by talking about pointing at cookies in our kitchen.
It seems like a leap.
But the through line is so clear.
It is. It's about the gap between the conscious and the non-conscious.
Let's recap quickly for everyone listening, because we covered a lot of ground.
Sure. We started with the paramedic and the radar operator proof that the brain encodes experience into highly efficient non-conscious predictions.
The intuition, that is actually analysis.
Then we looked at the double-edged sword. how that same efficiency creates zombie mode, how we cut up credit cards and yell at children because we are following invisible scripts triggered by our environment.
Then we went to Tokyo, Shisakanko, pointing and calling.
The mechanism of using physical action and vocalization to force the brain to verify reality, to wake up.
And finally, the scorecard.
8.
The audit. Listing the habits, judging them by our identity, and then using pointing and calling to rewrite them.
And the golden thread connecting all of it is awareness.
Awareness.
You cannot change what you do not notice. That is the fundamental law of behavior change. We spend so much time looking for hacks or shortcuts, but the only real hack is to open your eyes.
You have to read the script before you can rewrite it.
Exactly.
So that brings us to the end. But, as always, we don't want you to just listen and nod. We want you to try it.
The point and call challenge.
Yes, I want you, the listener, to find one thing today. Just one thing. Maybe it's locking your front door. Maybe it's turning off the stove. Maybe it's scrolling on your phone.
Pick an invisible habit.
And point at it. Call it out loud. I am turning off the stove. I am scrolling on Instagram.
See how it feels. It will feel silly. But notice if it wakes you up.
And if you are really brave, try it on a bad habit. Point at the thing you want to stop doing. Say the consequence out loud. I am smoking this cigarette and it is hurting my lungs.
See if you can still do it while the words are hanging in the air.
It's a brave question to ask yourself. If I pointed at it and called it out loud, would I still do it?
It might just change your life.
Or at least save you from cutting up your credit card.
That too.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. This was a fun one. We'll see you next time.
Take care.